for part two. And after writing this out, I'm gonna have to have a part three. There's just too much to fit into one. So before we get started, I wanted to give a couple trigger warnings. I will be talking about some DV, addiction, and self-harm. So if any of those topics are sensitive to you or you don't want to hear about that, maybe skip this video. So I left off at leaving my parents' house at 18, moving in with actually my first boyfriend. The first boy to ever make me feel special, and I highly do not recommend. We got engaged and married before I even graduated high school, and we were way too young to think we were ready to be married. It was, to say the least, so toxic. We have both grown as people. We're both, better people today than we were then, and so I don't want to throw any shade, but I am going to talk about my experiences. So yeah, we had a really toxic relationship. He drank, I took pills. I still wasn't a full-blown addict, but I definitely was taking too many. We were constantly fighting. He was constantly cheating and flirting and making me feel self-conscious, which I had already felt from just high school and life, and I think we all feel self-conscious when we're younger. I punched walls when we would fight. I broke my hand twice, and obviously I being in addiction, I drug out those situations as long as I could to get as many pain pills as I could. And then I got pregnant, and my baby doctor, or my OB, gave me, I lied to him first off and told him that I had back pain, and he gave me 120 pills a month for 2.5 to 3 years straight, from 18, 19 to 20. And that's really when my addiction ramped up, and I became to where I couldn't go without them. But he cheated on me a lot, and so a lot of our fights were about that, and constantly being cheated on, and already having self-esteem issues, and I was harming myself with utility razor blades. I still have scars today from that. I don't know how well you can see them. People ask about them still. And I even got to a point where I wanted to take my own life, where I just felt so dark and alone. When my baby boy got here, it was like, I don't know, I was still on pain pills, and it was just by the grace of God that he wasn't born addicted, but he was just perfect. He made me want to be a better me, and we, as a couple, started to do better, but it didn't last long. And when my son was 6 weeks old, my parents got called to preach at a church in Alaska. And me and him were going to go with them, with our baby. And in the last few weeks, we backed out. And then when they left, things just got even worse. I would hear things like, you don't even have any family here that cares about you. What are you gonna do if you leave? And it's just so toxic, and neither one of us knew how to deal with our emotions. We didn't know how to argue. We didn't, you're so young. And that's why I say I don't recommend having a kid so young. I love my son and I wouldn't take him back for anything. But if I could tell anyone that would listen, just wait. And if things are moving quickly and someone's trying to marry you quickly, that's usually one of these. That's usually them trying to mask, and they just can't anymore, so they want to lock you in so that their true self can come out. I wasn't perfect by any means. We were both really toxic. And the final moment for me was our son had accidentally got in between a fight of ours, and he got hurt in the process by accident, and I had had enough. I was done, so we split up. I got an apartment for a little while, and then I moved over by my aunt's so she could help me. And he had many girlfriends during this time, and luckily one of them knew how to write up legal paperwork, so she drew up our divorce papers, and for free. That was cool. And after a little bit of back and forth, we finalized that, submitted it to the court. So our court date was January 14th, and we were both excited. We both knew, we had jumped into something way too early, and that we were just way too toxic for each other. And what's crazy is we were okay friends, and we're still good friends, but we just definitely couldn't make it work. And we were toxic together. So the court date comes around, and we both show up, of course. After the court date, we have a divorce party, and we had all of our friends over and had this big divorce party. But little did he know, I had called my parents and asked them to get me a flight to Alaska for January 15th. And I flew out that next morning. My aunt dropped me off at the airport. And I called him from Alaska to let him know that me and his son had moved to Alaska. Obviously, I didn't get kind words in return, and that wasn't a mature way to leave, especially with his child, regardless of, what I had been through or what toxicity level our relationship was at. I shouldn't have done that. And so off to Alaska we went, and I was excited for a new start, for things to change, and just to be able to put my past in the past. And I just want to encourage you today that if you feel lost or dark or depressed, or if you're wanting to, self-harm or end it, that there are people that love you and care about you and would be devastated if that were to happen. Jesus loves you and he has a plan for you. Don't give up. I'm so thankful that I did it. If you are having any thoughts, I'm going to link a number below. You can call for help. And I'm going to end part 2 here. And I will start part 3 with my final, hopefully, Alaska testimony. And then we'll go on to something else. Thanks for hanging around. And I'll see you next time.